Hey guys, it's Carolyn Venzel,
And Tracy Lynn.
and we are here today to tell you the top 3 freebies that we have found that span basically every single niche, no matter what you talk about on your blog, from being a crazy cat lady to homesteading to gardening to being a mom blogger. These are things that work for every niche that we have found. And we are also going to share the 3 biggest mistakes that we see so often on people's blogs when they say things like, I have a lead magnet, but it's not working. So
Exactly.
this is a big video, guys. This is
Yes,
a
it
big deal.
is.
We're going to share some deep secrets here. Going to get real, share some tea and coffee. And Tracy and I are going to share our almost combined, wait for it, decade of blogging knowledge.
Oh, girl, you're a trip.
I know. So
What?
let's grab a cup of coffee and talk about the 3 biggest mistakes
Is that
that
where we're
we
starting
see.
mistakes?
Yeah, let's start with mistakes because I feel like you have to see like the things that you're doing wrong, because I know that whenever I've had you go over my site, you going and being like, this is dumb. This isn't working. Of course
Oh,
it's
I
not
don't say
working.
dumb.
Like,
Don't you
duh.
listen to her.
Okay, fine. You've never called it dumb.
But I've done the same. I've done these mistakes, and so has Caroline. So
Yep.
don't beat yourself up if all 3 you're doing them.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why you guys are here, because this is as bad as it's going to get.
Yes.
From this day forward, you are going to rock emails from this day forward.
Yup. It's only going to get better from here. This is like day 1 of the journey to amazing like mega blogger status.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're going to go there, guys.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, we are.
So number 1 is that your freebie is 62 pages long. It's a huge, ultra, mega freebie. You've got a workbook and a printable and an ebook and a video. And you're like, this is an entire course. And you're giving it away for free. Tracy, why doesn't this stuff work?
People do not want complicated, you guys. Honest to goodness. Caroline and I were going over her blog, and she had a freebie that said the word workbook in it. And I'm like, that's not converting because the word workbook's in there. They don't want to do anything that's work. They want a freebie that is going to change their life and be easy. There's nothing easy about 62 pages.
Nope.
Keep it short, keep it sweet, and keep it simple.
Yeah. The simpler that it is, the more actionable people feel it is, and that they can do it. Because remember, this is something that you're giving away for free. You want people to find value in it, but if they're not actually investing any of their time or money in something, take that 62-page product that you have and have something paid for it. Like make it a paid for product. Don't give it away for free. You can take 1 page of it and give it away, but don't do the whole thing, because nobody has that kind of buy-in for a freebie. You go to a site to get a freebie to get a quick win.
Exactly.
62 pages is not a quick win.
Short and sweet is your friend when it comes to a freebie. And like Caroline said, if it is long and it has that many pages, then you go and you turn that into a course, or you turn that into an ebook. Because once somebody invests money into a product, then longer is probably going to be better because they've actually paid for it. But when it's free, it needs to be simple so that it works and so that they use it. If they're not using your freebie, it is not a good freebie. They have to use it to see the value, to appreciate what you just gave them. And when Caroline and I first started blogging, longer was better. Ebooks were the thing to give away. Courses, challenges, those were all good freebies to give away, but not anymore. People, they don't have time for that. They want it fast.
It's so interesting how, like, even then, attention spans were so short. But now people's attention spans, like if you're not catching their attention in like what, 0.3 seconds or something, it's gone. And it's the same thing with a freebie. If they're not going to get a quick win in a short amount of time, it's too long and you should be charging for it. Because remember, if you're spending, by the way, like we're spending a lot of time on this, but it's honest to goodness one of the biggest things that I don't know about you. I see it all the time where it's like you're giving away so much. Your time that you've put into making that 62-page freebie is valuable. You can charge for it. There's nothing wrong with that. It would be sad if you weren't. Can you hear my cat, by the way?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, that's my cat. He's 19. He's 19 and he forgot that he just ate. So I apologize, guys, but this is real life here.
Yes, it is.
So number two, we kind of talked a little bit about this, but number two of the top 3 biggest mistakes that you're making with your freebie is that it's too complicated. You have too many directions required in it.
Yeah,
So
you need to map out exactly how to use a freebie without giving them a 4-page intro to that
yes.
freebie. So like,
So here, I'll show you this one. Like,
okay.
I can't give this freebie away. Do you know why? Because this might be a pretty simple thing to me, but it requires me to tell you, oh, and in here, you have to make sure that you put in your income and your husband's income and any side hustle. Oh, and do you know what a variable expense is and a fixed expense? That's too much. You know what's not too much is a nice calendar where I can tell you, put in the days that your bills are due. One step, one problem. Boom.
Yes. No, I agree 100%. And if you have a sheet that has multiple things on it, just label everything. It's super easy. This one is, this one
there it
is a super popular printable that I give away, and everything is labeled completely and neatly so they know exactly how to use it. So all you have to do is put in 2 or 3 words in each section that it's simple. It's easy for them to understand. They don't need a degree to know how to use your planner page or whatever your freebie happens to be. And they're able to just run with it. So you want them to print out your PDF or your printable and say, oh, this is awesome. I can totally use this right now, and grab a pen as it's coming off the printer. So keep it simple, keep it short, and don't make it complicated.
Yeah. And that's actually a perfect segue into the opposite problem, which is number 3 on our list of the top biggest mistakes, which is it's too generic. Your freebie is too generic. If I show up on your blog and I am super into this post about how to make your own dog treats, and your freebie is get a calendar.
Yeah.
Okay, for what? If it's too broad, if it's too like general, or like grab this planner page. I'm here to learn about homesteading and you're just giving me a random planner page. What kind of planner is it? Is it a homesteading planner?
Right. No, you're exactly right. And that's the thing. If you guys, all you have to do is match it to your brand, match it to your blog, match it to your niche, and you can take a generic freebie and turn it into pure gold. It really is that simple, guys. No matter how easy or how simple or how silly you may think a freebie is, your readers are going to geek out over it. I'm telling you, because they're not used to getting stuff like this. Even though we keep hearing that the internet's a crowded market and there's bloggers all over the place, there are millions and millions and millions of new users coming online every day that have never even been to a blog. So when they go there and they see, hey, do you want this freebie that will match this blog post? All you have to do is sign up and I'll deliver it right to your email account. And they're like, yeah, I want that. So don't make it complicated. Don't make it long, but customize it so it matches who you are and what you write about.
And don't make it too boring. Like that's kind of like a big thing. People aren't, you don't have to give away the farm. You don't have to be so complicated that it takes a PhD in quantum physics, but you also don't want to have something that's so bland and so generic.
It has to have a purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so those are the biggest mistakes. There are plenty of other ones that come along as well. But those are the top 3 that over the course of our years of even looking at our own blogs, I mean, Tracy, I told you about my huge workbook that I was giving away. You were like, that's dumb, charge for it. She didn't say that's dumb, but in so many words, she did tell me, like, you should be charging.
A lot nicer than that, you guys.
It's true. It's true. Or even the challenge that I had that you were like, no, make that a course. Like, brilliant. Of course I'll make it a course.
Here's the bottom line that Caroline and I really want to drive home to you guys is you need to set yourself apart. You need to do something different. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to make yourself stand out from everybody else that's in your niche. So if If you have a challenge that is your freebie and it's not converting, then you turn that challenge into a course and you give something else that'll lead into that freebie, which is jumping ahead a few videos, but still, I want to show you the possibilities.
Oh
You
yeah.
don't have to throw away a freebie just because
Mm-mm.
it breaks one of these rules or it's not converting. You
Mhm.
have to tweak it, give it a new path, and come up with a new idea of something that will work.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you are looking at this going, well, crap, I feel like mine does have a lot of directions. Cool. Make it a course.
Make it a
Oh,
course.
mine's too generic. Niche down on it. Like if you're looking at your calendar and like there's nothing special about this, niche down on it. Make it your calendar or your planner page, which we'll talk about in a second. Oh, wrong side, which we'll talk about in a second. Make it a planner page for something specific in your niche. Make it a calendar specific for your niche. And no, you don't have to go reinvent the wheel. If somebody else has a planner page, that doesn't mean that you can never do a planner page. That doesn't limit you. That doesn't mean like you can never have the same kind of a freebie as somebody else. Because again, like Tracy was saying, there might be a lot of bloggers out there, but the reality is there is no one who is exactly like you. You are the only person who is bringing your voice and your personality to your niche. So
Exactly.
bring that out in your freebies. Don't be super vanilla with your freebies. Don't be, again, asking for somebody to have gone and been an astrophysicist to use your freebie. And don't be afraid if you've made an epic freebie that is 62 pages long to charge for it.
Right.
Okay, so now that we've talked about all of the mistakes that we've made, like, do you guys want like itemized things that I've done wrong? Let's get into the actual things that are working, that not just are working, but are shockingly easy for you to do with your blog post that you have. Like the blog post that you wrote that you spent 4.5 hours writing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's figure out the top 3 freebies that you should make for that blog post.
Now, before we dive into that, I just want to do a little side note. If
Yeah.
you want your freebie to convert, it is important that either the freebie that you have matches your blog post or it is made specifically for your blog post, because the whole point of it is to help take your blog post to the next level, whether it be action or implementation or memorization, whatever it is important that you use that tool to take it to the next level. So if it doesn't match your blog post, then it's not going to go any further than sit in their inbox, never to be printed. So know that from day one that things have to tie together if you really want them to work.
That also kind of does help with like your goal is like, while at the end of the day, it is to make sure that you get people onto your email list, obviously, but you want to be providing value to
Always.
your readers. Because if you're just giving them another thing that's going to collect digital dust in their downloads folder,
I
like,
love that.
right?
I love
But think about it, like how many folders do you have in your digital downloads where it's like you've never touched them, you've never opened them, you've never printed them. You don't want that to happen. And when you are able to make a freebie that is specific for a blog post or even just specific to that one topic on your blog, there's something magical that happens when somebody reads your post and is like, yes, you are my person. Where can I find more about you? And you have something to help them. That's building a connection without you ever having to try to sell them on anything. You know what I mean?
Yep, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. So don't freak out about this point. So many times bloggers panic about the creating or coming up with the lead magnet. They're like, I just spent all this time writing a blog post, getting my images, doing my keywords. I don't have anything left to come up with a freebie. But the freebie is in your post, you guys. It's already there.
Yep.
All you have to do is make it a download and deliver it to your readers. It's already there.
Mm-hmm.
It's already there. And that takes us in to the number 1 freebie that I think is by far the easiest freebie to make. And if you struggle with coming up with ideas, this is where you need to start. A checklist.
Yep.
That's it. If you've ever written a blog post that says 10 steps to packing a suitcase, or 9 ways to come up with the best meal tonight, or 8 ways on how to tackle your kids' homework, though that number is your freebie, because people read your blog post, They get excited because what you're telling them really resonates with them. You're giving them new and fresh ideas that they can't wait to try out. So they leave the computer and they come home from work and they're all ready to implement that new blog post, and they forgot steps 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
So how do you help them remember those steps? You give them a checklist. It is basically a list of the things that you wrote about in your blog post that they can print out and take home with them.
Yep.
I know.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's
But you know what? It's one of those things where it's like, it's so simple, guys. You don't have to overcomplicate this stuff. You've already done the work on the blog post. Repurpose that content. Use what you've already worked so hard on. If you're giving them the steps, give them a checklist to just check off the steps that they need to take. And that's something that is actionable and doable. So let's think of some other things. Can we do this off the top of our heads where we're like, let's think of, well, not just other things, because we have 2 other ones already, but I'm saying like, let's think of a checklist that, can we think of a checklist off the top of our heads, Tracy? Let's pick a niche.
Pick a niche.
Pick a niche, any niche.
Mommying.
Okay.
I would be better to come up with a checklist than pick a niche.
I know. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Let's see. Here's the checklist is the top things you need to pack in a hospital bag when you go to the hospital, when you have your baby.
Oh my gosh. Genius.
Thank you.
And you can write the blog post on what to pack and then give them the checklist that they can take with them to pack the suitcase.
Yep.
Done.
There you go.
Done.
Best books to read on a certain topic.
Oh yeah. And you can absolutely list out the book, give a quick genre of what the book is, or not genre. What am I saying? Synopsis of
yeah.
what the book is about. And they can do summer reading list. There you go.
Boom.
Summer reading list.
Kids' chores by age.
Oh my gosh. That is a super simple checklist because you can do one for each age category, or you could put them all on one sheet to make it easy.
Because this is something that I'm very passionate about. Keto diet foods that are okay.
You know, and that's the thing. I have a lot of people that come to me asking for opt-in ideas. And they're like, I'm a food blogger. It's impossible to come up with opt-in ideas. And I'm like, that is the easiest place to come up with opt-in ideas is when you're a food blogger. And when I give them ideas, they're like, yeah, but I never thought of that. That's so obvious. And I said, yes, to you, but not to your readers.
That's what we need to get through to you guys. And this is something that I don't know about you, but this is one of those like really hard things to learn where it's like, isn't that duh? Like, you know, and that's something that's like super simple in your mind is not simple in the mind of your reader. Like, even if you're, sorry, go ahead.
Let me just say that every single person has to hear something the first time. Mm-hmm. So when they come to your blog, that is them hearing it for the first time, and you have to treat them that way. So if you're a food blogger that blogs about German recipes, then you do a checklist of the top 10 ingredients to have in your pantry if you love to cook German food. And people are going to be that want to learn how to cook German food are going to be like, oh, this is the best checklist. I never would have known to have that stuff in my pantry, but I'm not going to want to write it down to make a grocery list. So you give them a checklist and they go to the grocery store with it.
Mm-hmm. Or, you know, even better, like maybe you could have a post that's like super high earning with affiliate links and everything like that. It's just a fantastic, this is like one of those things, Tracy and I, we could sit here talking about like the things that we could make like for hours and hours and hours. But again, go back to like the thing that you always have to keep in mind is where were you 4-5 years ago in your life? Because usually your reader is who you were in the past.
Okay, let me just jump in here quick.
Yeah, go.
Because this is what I do. So before I started blogging, the reason why I started blogging is because I wanted to get goats and raise goats at home. And I couldn't find any information anywhere. And how great it would have been if I could have found a checklist of 10 things you need to know before you even consider getting a goat. That would have changed everything for me because I just went and got the goats and what a wake up
you didn't.
That was. Oh yeah.
Who goes out and impulse buys goats?
I had a barn and I had a fence, but that was it. Oh my gosh. That was 8 years of wake up calls, you guys. So you have to understand that every person at some point needs to learn something for the first time. So
Yeah.
make it easy for them to do that.
Yep. It's the same thing with me. I went looking for how to save money when you didn't have any money. And I couldn't find anything. I'm like, this is ridiculous. There's like 18 quadrillion websites and there was nothing for me. What I wouldn't have given for the freebie that I have now that Tracy helped me come up with, which is the 50, I mean, it's not a workbook, it's a guide of like the 50 things that you need to do right now to save money in your life with what you already have. It's got a nicer name than that, but I can't think of it right now because I haven't had enough coffee. But it's still one of those things where it's like things that seem simple and elementary, put it out there, which brings us to number 2. Which is making a guide, which is a step further than a checklist because it's walkthrough of your post. It's not just saying step 1. It's not the things that you need to do. It's taking it a little bit further without being overwhelming, right?
Yeah, because basically a checklist is just very short, actionable lists, whereas a guide is going to give you a sentence introduction to each step. So it's going to lead you from point A to point B and not just give you something to check off as you go through it in any order you want to check it off. This is a path, a specific path that you're going to take from this point to this point, and that's what a guide is. And it's the same as a checklist as far as length of it. It's going to be anywhere from 1 at the most 3 pages long, but I like to keep my freebies at a page if at all possible. So yeah, like you could do a guide very easily with just 1 page. And that again can be adapted to any niche, to any blog post out there, you guys. You just have to know what the freebie is so that you can turn it into your own freebie.
Yep. And that's the beauty of this stuff is this is not reinventing the wheel. This is not having to sit there and go, gosh, I don't know what to kind of offer as a freebie for this post that I just spent all this time writing because like, again, who wants to sit there and spend another 4.5 hours coming up with a freebie? All of these also, this is something else that I think is great is none of these, the checklist or the guide, require you to have any software or knowledge of how to make something pretty or Photoshop or Canva or PicMonkey even, like none of it. If you have Microsoft Word or Google Docs, you can make these. Like
that's all you need.
That's my favorite
we make
part.
all of our printables that way, don't I? Make all my printables in Excel.
I'm like almost ashamed to tell you that I do all of mine in either PowerPoint or it's like whatever the Google version of PowerPoint is. I do like all of my stuff in there.
Yeah.
All of it. It's
Super easy,
shameful.
guys. Yeah,
But
that's going to be what's holding you up. Yeah,
No.
I mean, we're taking care of coming up with the idea and having you adapt that to match your blog post. Don't let the part that holds you up as the creation because it really isn't that hard. People don't want anything. They don't want all these, cartoon pictures and all this color and all this ink. They just want super simple, straightforward, something that's going to work. No frou-frou.
And that's something else that I never thought of until you told me it. I'm like, everything needs to be colorful and pretty. And you're like, but what about printer ink? I'm like, nobody wants to print. Niche. I know. Nobody wants to print out a page that like when you pick it up off of the printer tray, it's wet with how much printer ink there is on it. Right? And so by keeping it simple, you're not only helping yourself, but you're also helping your readers because again, who wants to to waste all of their printer ink on one page?
No, especially in you because you're in the money saving niche.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's the last thing I want is like, I printed out this one page and I need to go and buy a new $36 ink cartridge.
Right.
But like, this is something we didn't even plan on talking about was the tech behind it. Like, don't let that ever be the reason that you're not making a freebie. You can do this. You can even make these like editable templates. You could make them PDFs. You can do whatever you want with them. And no, you don't need to be a graphic designer. You don't need to hire a graphic designer. You can do all of this literally on free programs on
Amen,
Google.
Sister. Amen, sister.
Right? High five.
I agree.
Frugal high five.
Frugal high five.
Do you want to go on to number 3, do you think? Or do you want to talk more about guides?
Okay. No, I think guides are just the next step to a list. So I think if people know what it is, they understand the logistics of it. So
yeah, I think a guide is more important, like especially if you in my niche where it's not something like a hospital bag checklist where it's like slippers check, robe,
Right.
check. Mine is like weatherproof your windows in your
Yeah.
house with
That's more of
plastic
a
wrap.
guide. Yeah.
Exactly. Like you need a little bit more detail. So if you feel like there's no way that you would be able to do a checklist with the information that you have, a guide is perfect. It's the same
Let's do it
basic
this way.
principle.
So, say a checklist is super simple and straightforward. A guide is your way of guiding them through the checklist by giving them more words that make each item on that list actionable. So, if
There
you
it
can
is.
put it in your head that way, it'll make it
Yes.
easier to understand each freebie.
Yeah. And that's kind of another, like, everything just has to be actionable,
Mhm.
but you're still using the same blog post. Like
Right?
you're not reinventing the wheel here, guys. You're
Right.
reusing the content that you already have, which is like the name of my game.
So, just to reiterate, because see, this is why we're recording these, you guys, because
I know.
Caroline and I just go back and forth. Okay, so
But that's where the magic happens.
that's the thing, because so many people say to me, it's like, well, do I just need one freebie for my blog? And it's like, no, you need a freebie for your blog post because
Mhm.
you want them to take your blog post and put it into action. So I
Yes.
have like 100 freebies on my blog. When I do a blog post, I just make a freebie that goes with it. If I don't have a step by step in my post, then I'll match up something a little more generic. But
Yes.
basically, my blog post, I turn it into a checklist and I use that as my freebie, and they convert like magic, you guys. They really, really do. So just put that on your own checklist when you're writing a new blog post. Write the blog post, do all the things that go with that, and then make a freebie for the blog post. Not make a freebie, make a freebie for the blog post. Find a
Yeah.
way to put that blog post into action so that your readers can run with your information.
And I will say one more thing on this though, because we're just gonna all over the place with the tangents.
I know, right?
But I feel kind of not the opposite, I guess, isn't the right word. Like, I just never want people to be like, I just don't know what to do. So I just won't make a freebie.
Right.
I just won't put an email opt in on this blog post because I don't have time to make an email freebie for it. I would rather see you have a blog post that is like a blog post that you're getting out there with a freebie that's kind of for the general niche.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I never want somebody to be like, I can't think of a checklist. I can't think of a guide. I don't know what to make. And then just not put a freebie in there. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
then we need something that's a little more encompassing, which would be our number three.
yes, you go ahead. You say
Oh,
it.
it's a planner page. This
Yes.
is a freebie. Now, don't panic if you're like one of those people that says, I don't talk about productivity. That's not what we mean.
Oh, no.
A
No, no.
planner page is, again, taking what you teach in your niche and allowing your readers to put it into action. So
Yep.
you can do a planner page for any niche. That's why we picked these three, because the premise behind them is very generic. Even though we say don't do generic, we just mean don't make it, anybody could offer it on there. Make it your own.
Yes.
So a planner page is a way for people to put actionable steps for your blog post. So for me, for my decluttering blog, I love doing planner pages because I teach how to declutter and organize, and I teach them how to do it through within their daily schedule. So I'll give them a planner page that has your daily to-do list, your decluttering to-do list, and your organizing to-do list for each day. And that is just a way for them to implement decluttering in their day. And I know, Caroline, you could probably do it on how to save money.
Oh my gosh. I have things that are so, it seems like random that I would have a meal planning planner page because A, I hate cooking, but B, it's kind of like, oh, what does that have to do with saving money? But for my people is like one of the biggest expenses that they have is around food. And so if I'm able to give them a weekly meal plan where they're able to write out each day, they're going to have this for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, then there's no wiggle room of, well, I just didn't have anything in the house for snack today, so I went to Chick-fil-A on the way home. Like, there's no excuses in that way. So it might not initially, like, to you guys, it might not make sense. But to me and to my people, I know that that
Yes.
works. But I could also have a planner page for like, oh gosh, I have some that are like how to plan for what bills get paid out of each paycheck. I have planner pages to map out when you're going to get paid, to map out how many hours you've worked, to make sure that your checks are right. You name a plan, and I've got one that I can relate to my people. But you could do the same thing for moms, like
Oh
how you
yeah.
need to map out like where the kids are, what their schedules are, what you're going to make for dinner, whose birthdays are coming up, like all of
That's
those
a good
kinds
one,
of things.
actually.
I know, right? It's because I keep forgetting my kids'
Oh, that's so funny. Because you have too
birthdays.
many of them.
I do have too many. I've got 4. That's enough.
But the
But
oh, go ahead.
sorry. No, you go ahead.
No, the thing to remember is a planner page is anything that you can use to plan things out. So,
Yeah.
like, I know a lot of people in my Facebook group talks about self-care. So you could do a planner page on what to focus on every single day to improve your health. Or you could
Yeah.
do a planner page on what to focus on for meditation. Or you could do a planner page for your next vacation, where you want to go, how you're going to
Yes.
get there, and what you're going to pack.
Mhm.
A planner page doesn't have to be a daily schedule or a weekly schedule.
Yep.
It's just anything that will help a person plan out what you teach on your blog. And I know I keep
Yeah.
saying the same thing over and over again, but that's your job, you guys.
Yep.
You have a blog to teach people on what you write about. So you want products that help teach them more. You want blog posts that teach them what you write about. You want freebies that are going to allow them to put into action what you write about. And it all goes back to the same thing. It all has to match
Yep.
so that your email list isn't just some random list of total strangers that showed up at your blog. These
Yep.
are people that are there because they want to learn more about what you write about.
Yes. And that kind of goes back to like, if you do have a planner page, because everybody else has a planner page, but there's no real reason for it. There's no real rhyme or reason for it to be there. If it's just like a Monday through Friday, like
And
planner
calendars.
page,
Yeah.
that's not going to help you. Like, sure, you might get a lot of people who are signing up for your email list, but the second that you email them, they're going to be like, who are you?
Right.
Why are you in my inbox? That's not what I signed up to hear about. Like I have, are you ready for the most ridiculous thing that I have had a freebie for is a kids oh no. That one's actually relevant. Not the kids chores checklist because I
That
talk
was
about I
relevant.
talk about getting rid of my kids' stuff pretty regularly. It was how to clean, like what days to clean your house, like on what days, like what things to clean your house on what days. I don't talk about cleaning my house. I never talk about cleaning my house. Why do I have a printable
I
where
didn't
I'm
know you
getting
had that.
people? You want to know why you don't know that I have that? Because I never promote that freebie.
Ah,
because all poor 102 of the people who've signed up for that freebie are on my email list. Like, why aren't you talking about cleaning?
right.
Like
That's
I'm
exactly
here
right.
to hear about how to clean my house every day. And I'm there like, here's how you should save money. And they're like, that's not what I signed up for. So don't do that. Don't have something that works on someone else's blog and then try to put that into your blog. That's like the square peg in the round hole. Like
No, you're exactly right. It needs to match. It needs to
it
be.
does. It does. But we won't get into the things not to do like that because that's just too broad of a topic. But I do want to make sure that people know, like, these are things, not only can you make them all based off of your blog post, not only do you, like, can you make them all with free software on the computer or on Google, but these are all things that are really quick.
Yeah.
These are things that you can bang out in, if you set a timer on your phone for like 30 minutes, I feel like you can do that. What do
Oh,
you
you can do it for less than that. Seriously, guys, if you want to do a checklist, all you have to do is get into Excel and make the template for the checklist. And then when you write a blog post, you just put in the items and print it every single time. The template is already made. Then you just have to put in the items in your checklist. So the best way to do it is make a template for a checklist, make a template for a guide, make a template for a planner page, keep them where you can get to them fast, and you can, as Caroline says, bang out freebies like in no time whatsoever. So maybe the original template's going to take 30 minutes, but after that, I'm thinking 10. Easy 10.
Oh no, Tracy, now I'm thinking of something on the fly. Should we add a template?
Ooh, let's do it.
I'm gonna write
We're
that
going to
down.
add a template, you
We're
guys.
gonna add templates. And I'll do one in Google Docs so
And
that
I'll
they
do
have
one
it
in
there.
Excel. Yeah, Caroline's more
gosh.
Google Docs. I'm
I
more
am.
Excel. Yeah, because like this,
I break Excel spreadsheets. I've tried to do, and this is coming from a budgeter, guys. I've tried, and it just doesn't turn out pretty.
See,
Oh,
I don't do well in Google Excel as much, but yeah, that was Microsoft Excel. Super easy.
And this one was Google Doc.
See?
And wait.
Super easy, you guys.
Yeah, Google Docs all the way, all day. Like it's
all the way.
And I'm not a technical person. I am
Right.
not one of those people. And, you know, like we've said, it doesn't take long to make these things. Once you have the templates, you can bang them out super quick. It's not a problem.
All right. So that's next on our list. We will each do a checklist. You could do one in Google Docs. I'll do one in Microsoft Excel. And there you go, guys.
Hang on. My 4-year-old is standing. Can you give me just a few minutes, bud? I'll be right up. Thank you. See, real life, guys.
Real life, y'all.
My cat's meowing. My 4-year-old's like, Mommy, I'm hungry.
See, it's nice when you're an empty nester. We're like in the opposite ends of the spectrum. She's a new mom and I'm a new grandma. So we're like the exact opposite. So yeah, my house is empty. My house is empty and quiet.
I look forward to those days most of the time.
Most of the time. So this was awesome, Caroline. I think this was a really, really good video with a lot of actionable tips.
I agree. I hope that other people thought it was that good too.
Oh, I think.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's being cute.
Wait. There's a screenshot like.
What is it, like this or something?
Wait. My 9-year-old dabs. I think that's it.
Oh my gosh! And we're not even drinking.
No, that's the sad part.
God,
it's
right?
3 p.m. This is stone cold sober. Okay. So guys, recap, because we're going to keep all of this stuff in because hashtag real life.
Real life.
3 things not to do. And if you have them, we're going to change them right now. And if you have a 62-page printable, if you have a super complicated freebie, if you have an ultra generic freebie, break up the complicated ones and charge for them. Turn them into courses. Mm-hmm. Make them tripwires, which we'll talk about later. And if it's too generic, congratulations. You just have your template that you can break this down.
Genius.
I know, right? I just thought of that. I'm like, oh.
I tell you, that's genius. Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent.
See, if you have something that's too generic, that means that you have a template that you can make special for each and every blog post. So 3 things that you do need, Tracy. Wait, which side are you on? I can't tell.
I'm over here. Oh my gosh,
oh.
You're so funny. Okay, so 3 freebies that you guys can put into action right now today is a checklist, and that is just a list of the steps that you have listed in your amazingly contented blog post. A guide that is a little more direction friendly, that helps your reader and walks them through the steps that you want them to take. And finally, a planner page that your reader can use to put your blog post into action with your planning page worksheet.
Yup.
Breathe.
Breathe in and breathe out.
Oh God.
So, and be on the lookout, guys, for the templates that we are going to make and include with this beautiful video presentation that you have purchased, so that you can use the guides for whenever you need them. Awesome. The guides and the checklists.
Awesome.
Whoop, whoop. Air high 5. Go make those those freebies amazing.
Absolutely. See you in the next video.
Bye, guys.
Bye.